This was our first day in Jerusalem. The sun was shining bright on a clear day, and we were off on our first outing to see the city of David in the old section of Jerusalem. As we drove out of our hotel en route Old Jerusalem and to the city of David, it was like any other city in the world, with the morning traffic building up in crowded highways. It was also our first glimpse at the streets and houses in this beautiful city.
I live in Jerusalem, and Lior lives in Netanya, which is a little bit north of Tel Aviv. So Jerusalem is a little bit south of Tel Aviv. Right over here is a very...
From the street, it was a great sight to see Haram al-Sharif and the Dome of the Rock. The entrance gate led us into a very peaceful square with shady trees and flowers, where we were greeted by our guide. Everybody in our group enjoyed the surroundings and the cold drinks that were offered to us before starting the tour. Our guide was excellent and very knowledgeable, with a great sense of humor. He gave us a brief introduction of the tour before we set off.
Why it became so popular, okay, what's hiding underneath our feet, and then we're gonna go to some recent digs and eventually to some active digs, okay? Along the way, take pictures, ask me questions. Does anybody need to use the restroom? Yes, okay. So let's meet in 2 minutes in the shade over here in this olive tree garden. I'll show you where the bathroom is.
I'll go, so just in case.
How do you charge it?
Well, you know, I have one charged one, but I forgot to bring it. The City of David National Park is known as the birthplace of Jerusalem, and it holds some of the oldest and most historically significant sites in Israel, predating the adjacent old city of Jerusalem. The story of the City of David began over 3,000 years ago. Today, the story of the City of David continues, as you will learn a little later.
This is the Al-Aqsa Mosque, and you can see it behind us. I'm reminding you all, these two structures were built here about 1,300 years ago, okay? They were built on top of a more ancient structure, the Temple Mount, a 2,000-year-old Jewish structure. We're seeing right now the southern wall. This is about 800 feet, 250 meters on 500 meters. You could fit into the Haram al-Sharif, yeah? 25 soccer fields. In Hebrew, it's pronounced Har Habayit. In English, the Temple Mount, built by King Herod, okay? It's a huge area, and it's much bigger than the city of David. What is the city of David? The area behind you, over here, one of the only national parks in Israel that has a residential area in it. Why? Because people were living here before it was declared a national park. Where is the ancient city hiding? Underneath. And that's what we're gonna go and see in a moment, okay? Okay, opposite to us right here is one of many East Jerusalem neighborhoods. This specific one is Silwan, the majority of the population, Muslim Arab. Yes. The Mount of Olives today is also a cemetery. About 100,000 people are buried here. It's one of the most ancient Jewish, excuse me, cemeteries in the world. We have tombs over here dating back to 2,800 years ago, almost 3,000 years ago. Do you notice underneath Siluan, at the bottom of the houses themselves, yes, they're built on the bare cliff of the mountain?
Yes.
Look closely at the cliff, you'll notice, yes, like windows, black windows.
Yeah.
If you go into one of them, you would find yourselves in a room that has beds carved on the wall. That is where they would place someone who had passed away. When King Solomon built the first temple, okay?
How long ago was that? First temple?
3,000 years ago, when King Solomon finishes building the first temple, he prays for one thing. May this house be a house of prayer for all nations, for everyone. That's what we pray for, okay? Take pictures if you'd like, okay?
Yes, everyone, one group.
We'll do one group picture.
Let's take a group picture.
Yes, please.
We can do the flags. Come together. Can everyone?
Sharaka.
Sharaka, Israel, Pakistan.
No Jerusalem that used to exist thousands of years ago.
So, to take you 40 years ago, the first Israeli archaeologist came to dig around here, below us. His name was Professor Yigal Shiloh from the Hebrew University. On his expedition, when he was digging down here, he had a young, bright student in her early 20s doing a BA in archaeology. Her name, Eilat Mazah, and she was very enthusiastic. She urged her professor to expand the dig, and he always had to respond, "I'm sorry, honey, but I don't have enough." Yeah, okay? Our funds are limited. We can't just dig wherever we want. And eventually they wrap up shop here, down here, and they leave. Fast forward to the year 2005. Not so long ago. The young student returns. But she's not a student. What is she?
She's an archaeologist.
She's an archaeologist. She's walking here above our heads, not because of these metal beams, not because the metal deck, this wasn't here. What was here? Dirt. See the wall that I'm pointing at? That's not a wall. That's earth we have not excavated yet.
Oh, okay.
Yes, everything was covered. Above our heads, right over here, there was an office, a small wooden shack, a staff of less than 10 people running the show back then, 2005. Today I can tell you we have more than 200 guides on Zakoke. One morning, Eilat comes, she knocks on the door, she goes into the office, people look up, "Hey, Eilat, what are you doing here?" These guys have great news. What? I fundraised, I went through all the red tape and paperwork and bureaucracy, I could start digging.
Wow.
Wow, amazing. They knock it down, they build it here.
Yeah.
But then she wants to dig over here, so they
Yeah,
knock
she
it down, they
knows.
build it there. But then she went,
So her
everything you
conviction.
see over here is a dig that started in 2005, and the big question is, what did she find? Underneath our feet, right over here, okay, is the bedrock, okay, of a very famous mountain, Mount Moriah. The peak of the mountain, where the Golden Dome is today, okay, this mountain, many biblical stories are associated with this mountain. One of the most famous ones, the binding of Isaac, okay, at the top of the mountain, okay? What did Elat Mazar find when she dug over here? Take a look over the railing here. Look where I'm pointing. Okay? Come close. Underneath me, you'll notice I'm pointing at a stone, yes? See the stone underneath my feet?
Yes.
Now you can count. 1, 2, 3, 4 big stones, boulders, going all the way to the black wooden wall. What you're seeing over here is it okay if I do meters?
Yes.
Meters is fine, yes? 4 meters, thick wall that starts here and goes more than 30 meters in that direction. This wall used to be very tall. It got knocked down. What's left? The base, the first row. The interesting question is, when was this wall built? The answer? 3,000 years ago. Wall number 1. Wait, we're not done. Come here. Come to the other side. I am pointing at a stone at the bottom of the metal beam. From that stone, to the left, 5.5 meters thick wall over here in front of me. Yes, this is how thick it is. This wall is going in that direction. Also from 3,000 years. Together, these two walls create a corner. Now you tell me, is this a corner of someone's private house or a public building?
It's a public.
It's a public.
Where we are standing now is an archaeological site on the southeast hill of East Jerusalem, which is thought to constitute the original settlement core of Jerusalem during the Bronze Ages and Iron Ages. Deep underground, the city of David is revealing some of the most exciting archaeological finds of the ancient world. Above ground, however, the city continues to be a vibrant center of activity, with a visitor center from where the visitors can start on an exciting tour to the site where much of the Bible was written. In order to see the excavations and the diggings underground, we walked down a road with a steep slope and descended into a construction tunnel system.
I want to give you the background story of how the digs even began here. So, take a look. In 2002, 20 years ago, a sewage pipe exploded down here. This pool that you see was covered with dirt, and the city sent a team to fix the pipe. When they were digging underneath it, they came across ancient things, and the archaeologist that was supervising said, guys, we're gonna have to install a temporary pipe and come back and dig. In 2004, they started digging for 3 years. By the end of 2007, okay, 15 years ago, they've excavated 10% of the pool. The original pool, known as the famous Pool of Siloam, okay, originally was the size of 2 Olympic pools. Today, only 10% are excavated. Okay? Tourists that start their tour here up in the visitor center, remember we just walked down the street. Okay? Some of us only slide down. No, so we started here. Tourists today, the tour route is on the eastern slope of on this side. We came on the western side. Okay? The city has 2 valleys. The Kidron Valley, the Tyropian Valley. Today covered, this valley today is covered by more than 10 meters of dirt, 15 meters some places, and we're digging this valley. This is a dig. Okay? So you have the pool down here. It was excavated in 2007. I'm gonna sit down now. Okay, here we go.
Who owns the land?
What?
Who owns the land that
The state of Israel, because this entire area has been defined as a national park.
Yeah.
Now there are private houses owned inside. That's what I said in the beginning. One of the only national parks in Israel that has a residential area in it. Okay? But it's mostly the state of Israel. Now, when they found the pool here, they knew right away that if the pool over here, which by the way was a purification bath back then, people came to purify, and the temple was up here, okay? What should be connecting the two 2,000 years ago? A road, a promenade. They didn't have the resources to dig it in 2007. You know what they did? They found that in the beginning here, there's an entrance to a drainage system, completely intact. It was filled with dirt, but to clean out the dirt, that was an easy job. And they said, you know what, we'll focus our efforts in cleaning the drainage system underneath the road. One day, when we have enough resources, we'll start digging the road itself. By 2012, 10 years ago, they finished cleaning out the entire drainage system. Groups that started their tour up here and came down could now go up through the drainage system. It became a round trip.
Is it a working drainage?
Not an active one. If it rains a lot, water could flow through it. Then we might close it for a day or two. But on a daily basis, now,
How old is
okay,
that?
where is exactly the drainage system right now? You see this tile? This is called a manhole.
So one day you will be carrying that out and look at the stuff.
No, people are living above us.
Oh my God. Now
We're underneath houses right now.
Yes. We're gonna walk a little bit underneath the neighborhood. Jerusalem is not one city. It's many cities piled up one on top of the other.
Where?
The deeper you dig, the farther back in time you go.
Yeah.
Okay? Layers, 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 layers.
What's under the courtyard of the temple? Is it
Here?
all- yeah, all around the wall. What's underneath
$1
that?
million question.
I'm asking.
Today, the state of Israel and the state of Jordan have a peace agreement. One of the articles in the peace agreement, no digs are allowed inside. Nobody digs because it's so sensitive. So it's the biggest mystery in the world. One day, inshallah, there'll be world peace, okay? Religions, hopefully, won't be competing one another, but complementing one another.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes. Very nice.
And the story will be like how you start a good joke. A Muslim archaeologist, a Christian archaeologist, and a Jewish archaeologist go into the temple.
Instead of a bar.
Amen.
Okay?
Amen.
Here's the thing. We started to dig here in 2014. Okay? Imagine everything here filled with dirt. They started by digging from the street a hole down. Then they came from the side. The first thing they did is they drilled holes. They put in these holes beams, metal beams, and connected it with a metal arch.
If you wanted to see the narrow part of the ancient drainage system, you could go down through one section of it, and some of us were adventurous enough to do so.
We can get this later.
Okay.
Let's go to the
Okay. And now, to climb out of the tunnel system, you see the excavation site of the Givati parking lot, where careful excavation work is in progress to find more archaeological gems.
Canadian singer called Joni Mitchell. She has songs still today played on the radio. One song very famous. It goes like this. Don't it always seem to go, but you don't know what you've got till it's gone. Hey, paradise, put up a parking lot. Do you see the cars that I'm pointing at over there?
I'm tapping and you stop
I'm
singing.
sorry.
You have a good voice.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, you can just sing it again.
Really? Wow, I can't believe it's happening. Okay. Don't it always seem to go, but you don't know what you've got till it's gone. Paradise, put up a parking lot.
No,
And this,
that's what they did.
okay, this was a parking lot. The cars over there, that's what's left of the parking lot.
Oh.
Everything here was covered until 2007 when we started digging, going, like I said before, through more than 15 different layers of different cultures.
Our next destination was Mount Zion, and specifically the building containing the tomb of King David, believed to be the last remaining portion of the Hagia Zion church. One of the holiest sites for Jews is the building on Mount Zion, known as the tomb of King David. The Old Testament clearly indicates that David, or Hazrat Dawood alayhi salam, was buried somewhere else. However, the site where Christians commemorate the Last Supper remains a place of pilgrimage here for Jews, Christians, and Muslims. Entry to the tomb of David is through a courtyard, which is part of a former Franciscan monastery that was closed in 1551.
Family, they felt how they are honored to be in charge with this, so they changed their family name from Dajani into Dawoodi, and they still exist today. Their family name is Dawoodi. They wanted to feel this honor that they are, in charge.
Can you just repeat the Sirat al-Mustaqim starts where and ends where?
From Al-Aqsa Mosque to Mount of Olives, and in the bottom there is the Kidron Valley. So if you're gonna pass that
So we're
Sirat,
supposed to follow that
Sarat al-Mustaqim.
Mustaqim.
yeah, and everyone wanted to be buried there. The prices of the tombs are very expensive, like
Can we book
10
one of our friends here?
10,000, no, not $100,000.
$100,000.
Yeah, $100,000 for a burial site.
Pakistani.
जब हम प्रॉफिट दाऊद के टूम की तरफ आ रहे हैं, प्रॉफिट दाऊद का टूम इधर बड़ी साइडिंग की करते हैं, साइडिंग प्रे करने का
The complex has 3 rooms, all without furniture except for wooden benches. The entrance hall is used as a synagogue. There is a Christian tradition that this is where Christ washed his disciples' feet during the Last Supper.
Judah was with the soldier, and he said, I'm not gonna point at him. The person that I'm gonna kiss his cheeks, you're gonna take. That's Jesus. So he came, he kissed him. You know how they gave him to Judah? Around like 30 shekel, like $10 with the current. Yeah, and anyway, they arrested him, and one of Jesus' disciples took his knife and he cut to the ear of the soldier. But he said, no, not in this way. When the death comes to you, you should accept. So he healed him. He back. Take me, please. You know, that's all happening here. So not the Christianity, not in Europe, the holy place. Christianity started here in Jerusalem. And guess what? Jesus is buried here, according to Christian, in Jerusalem. He was born in Bethlehem and he's buried in Jerusalem. So if you ask usually an Italian, what is the holy city in the world? Guess what? No. Italian. When you ask Italian, they will tell you Rome. Why Rome? Because the Pope is sitting there. So in the mentality of Europeans, some of them, they think...
In the 16th century, after the Turks captured Jerusalem, the room was transformed into a mosque in memory of Prophet David. Its mihrab, the niche, indicating the direction of Mecca, and stained glass windows with Arabic inscriptions even remain today.
It is a gift, also a gift from the Pope of the Vatican, John Paul II. This tree made out of bronze, and we have a few elements here. Among them, we have the grapes. We have also the wheat. Why the grapes and the wheat? Because the grapes represent the holy wine, right? That happened here, the holy wine. The wheat represents the bread. But this is an olive tree. And for them, it represents the coexistence in the city. The roots of this tree represent the Judaism, the branches of it, Christianity, and the leaves represent Islam. So 3 in 1 if you want. And this is the correct place. This is the right place to give this gift. In which moment of you, you're going to die on the cross, according to Christianity. And then he break the bread, and he gave them from that bread, which represents his flesh, right? The body, his body. So they ate, and he said, what if one of you is gonna betray me? And that student that was with them, Judah, you know. So after before they eat this food and this supper, Jesus, he washed his students' feet. But they asked him, we should do it for you, not you do it for us. But this to show that he's a very modest person. We are talking about the most important figure in the universe, showing us how modest and simple he is. So he washed his students' feet.